Attract, romance, and seduce. How to build and keep an engaged podcast audience. Podcasting is a lot like dating. You need to catch someone's attention, keep them interested, and ultimately build a long-term relationship. So, in honor of Valentine's Day, let's talk about how to attract, romance, and seduce your podcast audience without creeping them out. Hello there again, and welcome to Legit Podcast Pro. I'm Gordon Firemark, and today we're diving into the art of audience development, Valentine's Day style. So whether you are just starting your podcast or looking to grow your listener base, building an engaged and loyal audience is a lot like building a great relationship. You need to attract the right people, keep them engaged, and ultimately turn them into raving fans. So let's break it down. All right, first impressions do matter. If you don't stand out, why should someone give you a chance? Let me turn that thing off, by the way. Okay, so first impressions matter. If you don't stand out, why should someone give you a chance? Just like dating, the way you present yourself, your style, your approach, your confidence determines whether someone takes that first step toward getting to know you. And the same applies to your podcast. Your cover art and branding should be eye-catching and professional. Think of this as your dating profile picture. It needs to make an immediate impact. A cluttered, confusing, or generic look might make potential listeners swipe left before even listening. Invest in great design that reflects your podcast's theme and personality. Next up, your SEO and episode titles need to be compelling enough to grab attention. Listeners need a reason to stop scrolling and hit the play button. Use clear, engaging, curiosity-piquing titles that make them want to listen. A good title hints at what they'll learn while sparking some curiosity. Think of it like a conversation starter. If it doesn't pique interest, people will move on. And beyond that, your unique voice and positioning are what will really, truly set you apart. What makes your podcast different? What unique perspective do you offer? The most successful podcasts don't just regurgitate what others are saying. They bring fresh insight and humor or some kind of a unique twist that hooks listeners. Finally, guest appearances and cross-promotion can be powerful tools for growth also. When you are seen with trusted industry names, you gain credibility and visibility. They call it borrowed authority. Networking with other podcasters and appearing as a guest on those shows exposes you to new audiences that are already interested in your topic. This is an analogy. This is like dressing well and being confident and having a great pickup line. If you want attention, you need to put effort into your presentation and initial engagement. Now, in the next little segment we're going to do here, we're going to be talking about the romance part of audience building. But first, I just want to give you a quick reminder that today, this episode of Legit Podcast Pro, like all of them, is brought to you by Easy Legal for Podcasters, my flagship program that provides all the tools, templates, forms, and information that you need to get your podcast business and legal affairs in order so you can feel confident and go out and take the big, bold risks that are really what will propel growth and profit. And Easy Legal for Podcasters provides you with all the instructions for using those tools and templates, plus the background explanations explaining why we're doing the things we're doing to protect your show. And there's a community of fellow podcasters that meet every month to share tips and strategies and ideas, kind of like a mini mastermind of like-minded podcasters. Getting your business and legal affairs in order is the single most important step toward achieving the impact, influence, and income you deserve. EasyLegalForPodcasters.com is the way. It's where you'll find out the information you need. Okay, so here's our next segment, romance, building a deep connection. We've already talked about attracting an audience. That's one thing. But keeping them interested requires nurturing the relationship. You wouldn't ghost somebody you're interested in after the first great first date. And the same principle applies to your podcast. You need to keep showing up consistently and providing value to the audience. First step is delivering high quality content and being consistent about it. Listeners need to trust that when they tune in, they'll get something that's worth their time and gives them some kind of a takeaway that's meaningful. Consistency builds trust. Whether you release your episodes weekly or bi-weekly or monthly, stick to the schedule. Listeners will form habits, and if they expect new content but they don't get it, they'll move on. Think of email lists and community engagement as well. These are like love notes to your audience, reminders that you value them and that they're important to you. A well-crafted newsletter that provides insights, additional resources, and personal updates will keep your listeners engaged beyond just the podcast itself. And then there's social media. Interactions on social media are a fantastic way to flirt with your audience. Tease the upcoming episodes and ask engaging questions, and you'll get them excited about what's coming next. Conduct polls, ask for feedback, and make your audience feel involved in the creative process. When your listeners feel like they have a voice, like they have a say in things, they are much more likely to stick around for you. Also, don't forget the power of direct interaction, replying to comments, responding to DMs, making your listeners really feel like they're a part of something special and they have some access to you is great. A simple acknowledgement could turn a casual listener into a really loyal fan. Here's another analogy. This phase is sort of like planning thoughtful dates and really listening while the other person tells you what they want. Engagement is a two-way street. Don't just talk at your audience, listen to them and talk with them. Now let's turn to the seduce part of the equation. Turning your listeners into loyal fans is going to take things to the next level. Turning those listeners into those loyal super fans, just like in relationships, if you don't put in the effort to make things special, people will lose interest. So start by making your audience feel valued and appreciated. You could offer exclusive content or behind the scenes access or some kind of a membership community or something like that. These kinds of extras will really make listeners feel like insiders. Limited time offers, live Q&A sessions, personalized shout outs, and meetups in person can be really powerful too. It makes them feel special, and that's important. Personalization is another key approach. Mention your listeners by name, respond to their comments, make them feel seen and heard. People love to be acknowledged and they love to hear their own name, so a simple shout out can go a long way. Now, your calls to action should be compelling as well as natural. Invite them to subscribe, join your newsletter, support you on Patreon or whatever. But remember, always deliver more value than you're asking in return. If you're consistently giving them something valuable, they will stick around. This analogy is sort of like where you put a ring on it. Commitment, exclusivity, deepening the bond. Loyal fans are the ones that recommend your podcast, leave positive reviews, and they help you grow organically. So make love, not noise. At the end of the day, audience growth is about real connection with your audience, getting them attracted, getting them invited into your world, and to really make that commitment. If you keep your listeners at the heart of your strategy, engage them authentically, and give them a reason to come back, your podcast will thrive. Relationships, whether it's in life or in podcasting, will take time and effort and consistency. So just keep showing up, keep delivering value, and keep building trust. So if you want to take your podcast to the next level, we cover all of this and a lot of other legal and business affairs side of stuff inside my Easy Legal for Podcasters program over at easylegalforpodcasters.com. And if you're ready to get serious about protecting and growing your show, watch my special training, Level Up Your Podcast Success Essential Frameworks for Professional Creators. That's over at gordonfiremark.com/levelup. Thanks for being with me. I'm Gordon Firemark, the podcast lawyer, and I'll be back with another episode of this show next Thursday. So stay tuned. Have a great one.